I'm Ron with Classic Model Trains. Today we're going to be working on an N gauge. Very first one on the channel ever. It's a little Bachmann, a little 440, little American steamer, kind of an 1890s wood burner. Little feller. Follow along, show you what's wrong with it, show you what we did with it, see if we can get it running the rails again. Way too small. Unbelievable. I mean, honest. How do you work on stuff like that? We're going to find out. Cute little guy. This is what he does, though. You give him a little juice, because I put together this little layout. And you can do it. Let me get you in closer. You probably can't even see this. He can't even get out of his own way. So we got to figure out what's going on. I'm thinking that maybe the wheels aren't rolling very well, or somebody needs some oil somewhere. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. I got to get my little fellers on like this. I might even have to pull down this guy right. What is this guy? This thing is so small. Now the pickups are back on this side, and you can tell that because there's springs underneath here, and then you can see the electrical traces right here, springs over here. So I'm guessing there's nothing being electrically picked up here. Now these look like they've got traction tires on it, and if they do, we're gonna have a really hard time. And then this here, there's green gooby stuff all over that. Maybe somebody tried to fix the traction issues or something. I don't know. We gotta clean that up, because that's gonna, of course, make a hard rolling resistance going on. Are the front wheels not turning very well? A little lubrication up there. These gears here, you can see there's a drive line right here, and the motor's in the back. So I want to get into the back. I want to see what that motor looks like. I wonder if I take these little guys out right here. There's a whole lot of nothing going on when I do that. I'm gonna use one of these paint mixer trays to put these little parts in. That's not taking off what I want. That's like getting into the coupler pocket. Dang it. Take out this big screw here between the tender and the steamer. Is that a slip joint in there somewhere? Yeah, it's a hex drive is what it is, going into that motor in there. I want to take the tender cover off. Pull the center one out right here. Looks like it's just a stop for these trucks so they don't turn too far. Take these trucks out. There's gonna be little springs under there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there comes the pickups. See those springs rode right on top of these two little tits right here. Shows you how this truck is made. It's insulated from one side to the other. There, that guy. Yeah, he was just friction fitted on there. Prying here, there's a gap between this front of this tender and the bottom. This piece here looks like it's working out the front. What do we have to do to get to the motor? What is that? That's a weight. Here's the motor hiding out inside there. Oh, that came out really easy. Yes. Wheel pickups coming off right here. Now I'd like to think that the motor will slide out from this square plastic tender. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was not very easy at all. First time ever doing it. Trying to figure out what's going on. Is that thing dirty? Sometimes. A little bit. Does it need some oiling? Yeah. That little commutator. It's dirty. Down inside here. I don't know how we're going to clean that up. Holy moly. How about this little guy? Thinking if you pull this out right here, this one screw, that's going to get us into the primary gear case. And then it's going to go all downhill from there. Oh yeah. That weighs like half an ounce. Not a lot of weight to that. That is the locomotive's primary weight source right there. Looks like these gears. Oh, can you see that in there? That's kind of neat. This drive line, when it comes in, it's got two. What are we supposed to call those gears now? We are supposed to call them worm gears. That is the proper term. Spinning two worm gears up there. So this does have a true four-wheel, that's pretty cool. Now, I suppose if I would have unbolted these little screws right here, I could have really got this to come free. Maybe I should do that anyway. That came out easy. Let's get this little guy. This is like It's like operating on a grasshopper is what it feels like. You know, not that I've ever done that before, but I bet you'd feel a lot like this. Rear drivers, front drivers. Now this is actually quite clean. Here's all that green Scooby all over this one wheel. It looks like it used to have a traction tire on it. And then is this what dried up bullfrog snot looks like? That little product that you can make your own traction tires out of? Well, if it was put on a little better, it would have worked out a lot better. Does that worm gear just pull out of the back? It looks like it does. Like I could just sit right here and pull it out of the locomotive more. Ah, yeah, look at that. So there it is. There's even little pieces of hair in here. So we got to get this all cleaned up. Clean up all this area right here. Any grease or grime that's sticking around. And we're going to be using this odorless mineral spirits. Now, if these guys out here, if you're looking for any kind of, sponsorship or something like that, if anybody, works over at this company, I'm open. I'm open. We're going to use little Q-tips. Well, normal Q-tips. Get your work tray out right here. Put this someplace where you can spill it. Guaranteed. I like to put it right beside my computer keyboard or alongside the part of the layout that I just got done painting. This locomotive, it arrived when I was working down at the hobby shop by this nice lady named Linda. And she gave this train set to her son when he was little. And it's been stored for quite some time. And she wants to get it running again. So I'm repairing this locomotive for her so she can re-gift it back to her son. It's broken. It's missing the chimney stack and it's missing the light box up here and the bell. So it took a hit sometime in its life of storage. So I had to go on the eBay and I had to wait until I could find just the right one to replace it with. And she didn't want me just to get a whole another train set. She wanted the original one as much as it could be originally happened. I'm going to take this one, which was a not sure if it works or not buy, because the ones that do run, seems like they want $75 for them or more. And it's like, oh. So we're going to fix this one. So we're going to use as many of the original components and put them into this one so that it's mostly what it's supposed to be. We're missing a traction tire on this set of axles. Well, this one has got good axles, so we're going to kind of mix the two together and have it be where the majority of it is still original. That's what we're going to do. So this guy, he's going to go away. And we're going to work on this one. Cleaning it all up, cleaning the gears up, and then putting stuff back together and making it pretty again. I'm really quite fortunate with this donor body because it didn't have any grease in it. It was just, there wasn't much there at all. I'm going to use this multi-purpose synthetic lube here and a toothpick just to apply just the tiniest little bits into these axle journals right here. I did not clean these wheels up with the mineral spirits because of the traction tires that are on there. This has got a complete set of traction tires. The original wheels are missing one, so we will avoid doing that. And I also want to check the quartering on them. It looks like you can just pretty much lob them in any direction you want. And the quartering, it just works out. Well, actually, you know what we need to do first? We got to put this worm, he's got to go back in there. There's an oil hole right there. And that's got to line up with this one right there. And that screw that holds everything together is going to end up screwing into that. So we'll give it a little bit of oil in there right now because we're not really going to have any other opportunities to do it. Put this hex side right here out and we're going to make sure that we get that screw hole up. Push him back in. Come on, yes. More, yes. That's what I want. Line it up with this right here. I'd take that, you betcha. Can also use this time to get just a little bit of grease down on this worm gear. Doesn't need much. A little bit less than too much. Yeah. Get our wheels in, and here's where we need to make sure it's quartered correctly. Okay, sure. Put this new massive weight back in here. I don't even know why they bothered. In, down, around, over, yep. That feller's gonna hold this whole mess together. Now I'm going to blow my vision out, attempting to put these drawbars and these little screws back in, and they are little. I'm telling you, fellers, don't decide to put those in after you've been overserved at the bar the night before, because it creates some some shakes. Oh my, that took a fair amount of time. I'm telling you. Pain. Holy moly, what a pain. I'm gonna dab some grease on these gears here. Put this little drive line in and roll it over. Check to make sure everything's not binding up. Give her another little taste right up in here. And then we'll take this time and just give all these just the tiniest little taste right up in here. These front axles actually stay turn inside this, so I want to just give them a little swipe here and here, so when these are rolling around, they'll roll around better, because that whole axle looks like it's alive. Quite happy with that. Let's go to the tender. I'm pretty sure on my last episode I forgot to do this week's classic model for classic model trains, so let's do it this week. You know who this gal is right here? If you do, type it in the comments down below. If you don't, hang out to the end. I'll let you know. So watch it to the end, you know, because some guys just, oh, okay, let's get back to it. Very, very small brushes, commutator. What can a guy do? It's really not that bad now that it's out. Before you put the motor in, make sure you lube it up a little bit. Give her a little tip up here on the end and a little back here. Hex side. Slide him in here. Sure. Put this little weight back in up in there. Ooh. Till she clicks. Got these metal pickups. Clean these up with the mineral spirits. These only go in one way, and they mean it. They look almost sort of identical. You know, maybe when you pull them out, put a little mark on one of them, just because, you know, I didn't do that, and it took a little extra time farting around to do this. There's a little lock right here and right here that you got to get this brass strip underneath of. And there's also timing pins on it, which don't seem to correlate with anything. Oh, now look what I did. Golly, these just sit up alongside those brushes. See, here's you got to kind of angle, put them in, lock them underneath this, and you notice that they didn't stay very good. When you're all said and done, put some juice to it, so you don't put it all together and realize you blew something. Yep. Spring for this coupler back here, the long copper one, not the little shorty guys, the longer one. Close this up, get the coupler in there. Oh, Jesus. Man, get this plate in there and then get the screws put in it. That little orange feller in there holds all the stuff down, and it's got to go all the way on. The trucks on this tender, these are the original trucks. If you look at them here, you can see that they're bowed. They have got the wheels, instead of sitting flat, they're tipped way up like this. And then of course that pulled the thing out of gauge. And then you notice how the locomotive at the beginning of the video, it couldn't pull it because the wheels wouldn't roll. So part of this parts locomotive thing was to get, you know, the other tender so I could use the trucks on it. Now this tender, of course, it's got really nice graphics, and the tender that we've been working on don't. But we want to keep it original, okay? So I mean, this will be around. We don't want to just throw a whole other locomotive in here. We want to keep the original one. I'm taking the trucks off the donor and I'm putting it on this tender right here. Keep the original body. Now, interestingly enough, this truck, when I took it apart, it's like it's riveted together. It stayed together. And this truck, when I took it off, it fell apart. It opened right up, and all the pieces roll, blah, odd. And I've been fighting with this, trying to put this back together. You know, Bachmann quality at its finest. So be careful when you're working on these, because, you know, different things happen and you don't just, what's a guy do? Yeah, see, here we go. Fighting. I'm not really impressed with this N-gauge stuff. I just gotta tell you, it's challenging. Very challenging. Now that this truck is all in one piece, the downside is we gotta balance springs right here and here, and then I gotta put the body on it. Then I gotta get the whole thing up and flipped over so I can put the screw in it. Here's the old springs right here, and they don't have much spring left to them. It's like they've been overheated, and then they lost their tension. And here's the freshies right here. And I don't know if this could be the death of me. These look like a spring launcher. This looks like a horrible idea. Holy moly. Are you kidding me? Yes, because one side of the trucks fell out. And look, it just fell apart again. Yeah, yep. So I guess I'll keep on trying. Ah. After fighting with these trucks, I may have found a system. It's got to be assembled upside down. Oh, it's just these engineers, I want to find them in a dark alley and express my opinion. And then this tab has got to go up, and you got to install these wheels on with the flanges going out. And this whole assembly is a floating assembly. So everything's got to move some. Oh, and the plastic truck frame keeps the wheels on the axles, shafts here like this. And it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then we're going to take some springs, and we're going to put them and balance them on top of that. And then these got to stay straight up and down. I mean, they've really, really outdone themselves. And then once they're standing straight up and down, bolster pin right there, you got to kind of try to stick all this together upside down like this. And then you slide the card off, holding the wheels on, flip it upside down, and there we go. Now, that took me 2 hours to figure out. I just gave it to you. Yep, you're welcome. Fight to get the little dang screw in there. And all these screw bosses were stripped out. So I had to put a little bit of CA glue inside of them and let them dry. Just to give it some threads, some meat. And then this is what we got. And this doesn't roll hardly at all. That was the problem I thought was with the old trucks. This is just the silliest, sorriest excuse for anything I've ever seen. I mean, look at how they just float around in there. If this is the way it is, you can have it. Because I'm not going to be running out to get one of these. Aye. Of course, these are different trucks from this body. And this one here, it looks like it melted down. It got so hot. And the motor don't work. Because I was just going to put the trucks back on this one because this is really in better shape and everything worked. And the motor's stuck inside of it. They overheated the living ever love out of it. And thanks, eBay. Remember when you read something that says untested? Also can mean they just know that it's blowed up. And I've had this thing on this track, rolling it back and forth, and it's terrible. I can't believe the thing actually ever really worked. Some of the wheels turn, some of them don't. Put the little hexy drive shaft in the motor, come around over here, get it in the locomotive, pin bolt in right here. Holy dang it. Here's what our happy little locomotive does. Seems to have a little traction problem. And I'm thinking that's because that damn tender just absolutely will not roll like it's supposed to. Reverse. Yeah, sure. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, it's running smooth. Can creep along. But this is what it's doing right now. And this is really disappointing. Yes, it is. Put all that work into it. Nothing, it just wouldn't come around. Everything I did, she wouldn't polish up and come back around. Dang it. I got a theory though. So that locomotive come in a box. It looks like this, the white boxes. Well, if you know anything about the Bachmann, the white boxes like this is it like when they got bought out from the 70s. These boxes here, these are the 70s ones. These are supposed to be the good ones. Then they got bought out in the 80s, and they repackaged them in boxes that looked like this, the white boxes, with the big B on it like this. And this is when they really went downhill. This is when all the gear cracking started, and the cheaper, make it faster, better, so the CEOs can run to the bank faster. Typically, I try to avoid Bachmann's with this box because of this. This stuff is just, You know, what do I say to get my point across? It's bad. So even up into the Bachmann spectrum, now I'm probably going to step on some feet here. Somebody's going to get mad, I know it. They had the cracked gear problem too. So it's like, you know what I do? I just avoid Bachmanns. Because if it ain't in a box, you don't know if you got a good one or a bad one. And, Lionel HO, some of it was made by Bachmann later on. Earlier on, it was made by Ather, and that's the good stuff. But then you don't know either who. So it's like, oh, man, what a taint on the industry there. I still think it's those wheels on that tender. They're bound up. It just won't roll. And I'm thinking there's a guy or two out there that maybe knows they've encountered this. They might know a trick on how to fix it. Maybe somebody knows how to do this one. If you do, if I missed something and you got the secret, leave something in the comments down below. We're kind of hoping. I talked to the gal Linda and told her maybe some guy will have some sort of idea and give me another week on it and maybe I'll have it by then. But I think the majority of the people are going to say, shelf queen it. That's all it's going to be good for now. So I hate it because it's a good looking locomotive. It's just too bad that they're engineered so poorly. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.